This boy was the smallest person in the prison. Every time he threw a punch, it lacked power, and during practice, he would often fall. However, a boxing coach saw potential in him. He asked Mike if he liked boxing, and Mike answered that he really did. The coach, seeing Mike's passion for boxing, began to teach him carefully, starting with the basics and gradually moving to more advanced techniques. Mike didn't disappoint the coach. He was very perceptive and soon mastered a lot of boxing knowledge. However, Mike's progress made Jack, the coach's former disciple, very unhappy. Jack didn't understand why the coach had become so cold towards him recently. Even when Jack asked the coach for help, the coach would say he was too busy to help and would take Mike to train elsewhere. Jack realized the coach wasn't too busy, he just didn't want to teach him anymore. Watching the coach and Mike train together made Jack feel incredibly upset. He threw his blanket over himself, trying to forget about everything, but as soon as Jack lay down, his cellmates began mocking him. They heard rumors about a love triangle and gathered everyone to discuss Jack's situation. They thought it wasn't enough to just talk, so they went straight to Jack, telling him that the coach no longer cared for him and began laughing at him. They mocked Jack, suggesting he should get up and train, or he would lose his skills by staying under the moldy blanket. Jack was already angry, and now he couldn't take it anymore. He pushed one of the cellmates against the wall, wrapping the blanket around him and hitting him. Jack unleashed all his frustration and anger on the person. After landing a few punches, Jack's opponent could no longer handle it. Just then, the sound outside the window caught everyone's attention. They looked outside and saw the coach and Mike running while training. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. The person training with the coach should have been him. Jack's emotions were complicated, but he couldn't help but find the courage to confront the coach. When Jack found the coach still training with Mike, he asked the coach why he hadn't come back to find him. If he had known, he would have sought him out. He asked the coach what had happened, but the coach didn't respond and acted like Jack wasn't even there. After a thunderclap, Jack's expression changed, and he knelt down. He had given up on vanity and stubbornness. He begged the coach to continue teaching him, promising that he would listen to everything the coach said. Jack had completely fallen in love with boxing and no longer cared about his dignity. He just wanted to become stronger. The coach turned around and felt that Jack's persistence was too much. He had already told Jack several times that he was too busy teaching Mike and didn't have time for him anymore. He told Jack not to disturb them again. Jack felt disappointed and decided to draw a line with the coach. What Jack didn't know was that the coach's actions were actually meant to make Jack understand something deeply. The coach wanted Jack to truly learn. Back in his cell, Jack heard from his cellmates that the representative boxer from the neighboring cell block 7 had been knocked down. The person who had knocked him down was none other than the smallest Mike. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. He hadn't expected the once weak Mike to now possess such strength. Jack felt a deep sense of discomfort in his heart. Determined to find out what Mike had learned, Jack went to him and asked what the coach had taught him. But Mike wasn't afraid of Jack anymore. Mike told Jack that if he wanted to vent, he could meet him in the ring. Jack was frustrated. He felt that Mike had only learned the basics of boxing, so why was he so confident? Soon, the prison's boxing tournament began. Jack swore he would fight Mike properly and show the coach that what he had taught Mike was nothing special. The tournament began, and in order to ensure fairness, the coach divided the gloves into different weight categories based on the fighters' weights. After explaining the rules, the first match began. Carl, the fighter, entered, and his opponent was terrified when he realized he was fighting a professional boxer. He thought he was very unlucky. Within just a few seconds, Carl defeated his opponent. The second match was between Mike and a heavyweight opponent. Although the opponent was taller and stronger than Jack, Mike used his agile footwork to avoid being hit. By the end of the first round, the opponent had barely touched Mike and had exhausted a lot of his energy.